satisfies? Do you believe in a God that opens eyes? Do you believe in a God that tells you lies? Or do you believe in me? Do you believe in a God that brings you down? Do you believe in a God that wears the ground? Do you believe in a God that makes you bow? Or do you believe in me? Do you believe in a God that satisfies? Do you believe in a God that opens eyes? Do you believe in a God that tells you lies? Or do you believe in me? Do you believe in a God that brings you down? Do you believe in a God that wears the ground? Do you believe in a God that makes you bow? Or do you believe in me?
It's beyond common sense. It's Lanny Sense with Lanny Swerdlow, KCAA's resident gay, woke, liberal, pot-smoking, race-mixing, tree-hugging, left-handed, science-affirming, Jewish, humanist, atheist, a white evangelical Christian nationalist, worst nightmare. Well, welcome to tonight's show. Well, this afternoon show, because for the first, we have changed our time from 8 p.m. at night. Now we are on at 2 p.m. tonight. Well, this afternoon. So welcome to Lanny Sense. We are so glad you are here to join us. Here in the studio with me, as always, is our progressive curmudgeon, Sam Clowder. Sam, thank you for joining us once again. We're going to have a spirited discussion, I am sure, about a whole variety of different topics. And if you would like to join in with the discussion, give us a call at 909-383-1000 or 909-383-9000. That's one or two numbers, 909-383-1000 or 909-383-9000. We would love to hear from you about anything you want to talk about or any of your comments on what we are talking about. You know, one thing I want to mention, you know, we're having this new thing with RFK Jr. being going to become the new Health and Human Services and stuff. Well, you know, what's happening right now is that the flu is surging nationwide. Flu is surging nationwide. And they say 24 million cases so far. That's about 7 or 8% of the entire U.S. population is now got the flu. And of course, the best way to prevent the flu or keep it from being really severe is get vaccinated. Get vaccinated. I've been vaccinated, and I haven't gotten the flu in years, so I highly recommend it. Apparently, it is surging across the country right now. It says 10 states and New York City are experiencing the highest level of the activity, according to the Center for Disease Control. New York City reported more than 51,000 positive flu tests during the week ending January 25th, a 6% increase from the previous week. About 3,000 people were hospitalized with the flu that same week, an 11% increase compared to the week before that. The states include Massachusetts, Michigan, Nebraska, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, Ohio, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas. So be careful. The flu is surging. So, and now we've got these crazy anti-vaccine people. Well, you know, I'm just very concerned if we start to have, you know, you've been reading all about the bird flu that's going around, and dairy cattle got it, and farm hands are getting it, and this kind of stuff. I am really concerned if we have a major outbreak that we have an administration in Washington that is not going to handle it very well. Certainly the Trump 1.0 administration mishandled totally the COVID pandemic. We had over 1 million Americans die from COVID, and it was all totally, most of it was totally due to the poor rollout of the programs to stem the disease and treat it and try to control it. And that was all with Trump. Remember, with Trump saying, well, why don't you try some bleach or something like this? It's going to be frightening. We'll see what's going to happen here with this surging flu thing there. All right. Well, we have a caller here. Caller, is this Sylvia? Come on in, Sylvia. We'd love to have you on the show with us.
Thank you so much for having me, Lanny.
Oh, we are thrilled to have you here with us. Sylvia is an activist very much with the Riverside County Democratic Party and just with a lot of progressive causes. So we're glad to have you here with us. I know you've been talking about, one of the reasons I'm glad you called in is because you've been very much involved in the racism, involved in the immigration and this kind of stuff. Tell us a little bit about what you know about what's going on.
Well, something that I'm really trying to draw attention to are the weaponization of words like cartels, illegals, and illegal aliens, and they've been weaponized by the anti-DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion President Trump and the Republican Party. And they're racist dog whistles. We've been hearing them since 2016. And unfortunately, Democratic candidates Democratic candidates don't understand that we hear those racist dog whistles, and they, instead of appealing to us, they seem to be appealing to the Republican Party in their commercials when they use those types of words and language. And that's why it's really important for them to have a diverse staff to help them to avoid those types of mistakes.
Well, it's sometimes it seems like some people in the Democratic Party kind of are, I don't want to say are joining them, but they feel that this is an issue that they've got to kind of not treat, not take a humanitarian outlook on, but to take a rather conservative view on it, I guess you might want to call it, where they almost espouse the same policies as the Republicans are doing. Exactly.
And if we want to, and it's cost us dearly this election, we alienated the Hispanic vote. The Democratic Party did, unfortunately. And a lot of people didn't really realize what not voting for the Democratic Party was actually meant, and they're finding out now the hard way. And so, this is why I'm here.
I had read an article, it was in, I believe, the New York Times yesterday, about the Venezuelans in Florida who were very strong Trump supporters, are now facing this thing where the temporary protected status is being repealed by the Trump administration, and they are all in danger of being returned to Venezuela. And they were very, very upset. They said they didn't believe that the person that they voted for is going to turn their backs on them like that and ship them back to Venezuela. But that's what it looks like is going to happen.
Yes, a lot of people voted, and some Hispanics actually voted for Trump, and they're finding themselves in his crosshairs because not only are they deporting people, but 50% of the people that they're deporting are not criminals at all, and swept up in those ICE raids are actual American citizens, U.S. citizens. So it's like pick up and deport now, ask questions later. And we've seen this historically. It's just unfortunate that it's happening again now, yes.
And of course,
where they deport Americans, yes.
Yeah, and of course, Trump is opening Guantanamo for sending people into immigrants and put them in as kind of a
yes.
this sort of black hole down there where there's nothing that they can be done to protect them.
And right now he's saying that it's an immigration detention camp, but to be honest with you, everybody should be very alarmed and very scared because I really think that he is planning to jail political opponents, and he will be using Guantanamo Bay not only for immigrants, but also for political opponents as well.
Sam, I know you've spent some recent time in South American countries or Central American countries. How is this being viewed there?
What, the escape of immigrants from the countries to head to the U.S.?
How Trump is going to be handling the immigrants who have gotten into this country.
Well, every country has a different reaction. Colombia folded because Trump threatened tariffs. Panama will take that. Panama doesn't really have a lot of people who are fleeing Panama. But they're concerned. They're going to stand up to Trump. Panama's not going to let Trump bully them about the canal or anything else. Ecuador has a problem. They just had elections yesterday, and it went in the right direction. But Ecuador has had more people leave to cross the Darien Gap than ever before. 2 years ago, it set a record, and last year it set a record. And what they're fleeing is the war on drugs. They're fleeing because the government cannot guarantee security, and the cartels slaughter people to keep them to extort money from them and to keep them afraid. And I was just studying this. Now, everyone knows the situation in Venezuela, and some like 80% of the immigrants that are coming to the United States are coming from those three countries. Venezuela, to escape the political situation. Colombia, because it's the poorest country in South America. And Ecuador, because of the security problems that their government has been able to solve over the past 3 or 4 years.
May I ask something really fast?
What?
May I ask something? Are those American guns that they're using? Do we know? Like the president of Mexico has said?
Are those American what?
Guns that they're using? Cartels down there? The drug?
Of course. Of course they are. The cartel gets its best weapons because United States citizens buy them here and sell them to the cartel for 10 times the amount. They can buy an AK-47 here, an automatic, a wartime weapon for about $3,000, and the cartel will pay them $20,000 or more. It's a tremendous hypocrisy because you have on the one side, the U.S. government is giving money and military support to the governments. But on the other side, the cartels are entirely financed by United States citizens using their drugs and then turning around and trading weapons for drugs or buying the weapons and selling them to the cartels. The entire thing is a United States problem all over Latin America, from Mexico to Argentina. And so this is actually, the war on drugs really is the number one cause of illegal immigration.
That's absolutely right. And this supposedly the tariff that Trump is going to impose on Mexico, and then pulled back on it. He made this big thing about how they're going to send these people to the border, 10,000 troops. And Mexico already sent these people to the border. But what hasn't been talked about very much is that part of the agreement said that Trump said, we will do something to stem the flow of guns into Mexico. And of course, Trump hasn't done anything of the kind, and the guns are still flowing into Mexico. And it's because well, first of all, the gun lobby is very, very powerful in the United States, and they make millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars making these guns and getting them shipped into Mexico. And so it's not stopping.
Well, it's by the way, being a journalist, I want to quote my sources of information. My sources of information are firsthand accounts while I spent time this past summer in Latin America. Listen, drive across the border. You've driven to Mexico, haven't you, Lanny?
I've never driven. Well, yeah, actually, I've driven in Baja California. I've never driven.
You drive right through. You drive right through. They don't stop you.
No,
I could have 20 automatic rifles in my car, and I'm driving right through. They don't stop you.
Yeah.
It's the easiest thing in the world to do, is to cross into Mexico.
Right.
Coming back, they treat everybody like you're a criminal coming back into the U.S. But it's that simple. All you do is just drive across the border. Of course, it's highly illegal. Highly illegal.
Yeah.
But so many arms have been smuggled into to the cartels, that the cartels have more powerful and better weapons than the governments that are fighting them.
And you're so right. This whole problem is caused by the United States. The guns going into Mexico are being caused by the United States, and the drugs that are being produced there are because we're buying them from them in the United States. If the people weren't in the United States buying them, the cartels wouldn't exist because they'd have no customers. So this whole problem
that's not going to happen. We all know that's not going to happen.
Oh yeah,
that's
sure.
just, and you get on that issue. We've discussed that so often. Less than 10% of the United States citizens actually use those drugs.
Oh, of course, it's a small percentage, but still, that's still a lot of people.
It costs a lot of money, a lot of lives to fight against it, and you're just not going to change human behavior. That's like Big Brother wants to make everybody in the United States stop using drugs. Well, start with the pharmaceutical companies. Start with the psychiatrists. The psychiatrists are the biggest drug pushers in the United States, legal drug pushers in the United States. Right. That's all they do is push drugs.
Well, of course, if we had drugs if the drugs that are illegal were legal and were manufactured by legal corporations and regulated and controlled, we wouldn't have the same problems, because right now, with them being illegal, they're manufactured, sold, and anybody sells them, and there's no control over them whatsoever. And
the only solution is to treat it as a medical problem, a psychological problem. I mean, hey, I did my cocaine back in the 70s when I was in my 20s. I'm not going to, they make cocaine legal. I'm not going to go do it again.
That's the thing about cocaine, is that cocaine is like alcohol or anything. Most people who use cocaine would have absolutely no trouble with it. Just a small percentage would, just like a small percentage have a problem with alcohol. But we learned what happened when we made alcohol illegal. And the same thing happens with cocaine. And we don't learn from our past mistakes. We never learn from this.
Yeah. Hey, one of the things I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I got a little information on Guantanamo and what's going on down there. According to this, right now, tens of thousands of migrants less than 1 week after President Donald Trump suggested detaining tens of thousands of migrants at Guantanamo Bay Naval Base, dozens of tents have gone up. Troops have flown in from North Carolina, and the first few detainees are en route. Today, the first flights from the United States to Guantanamo Bay with illegal immigrants are underway, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt announced on Fox Business. The hasty arrangements mark the latest infusion of government resources into Trump's efforts to quickly deport millions and millions of undocumented immigrants. And so Guantanamo is becoming that base. So that's this immigrant thing is going to be kind of a problem. Sylvia, how is the immigrant community that you associate with here in California? How are they reacting to this fear of ICE coming down on them and so on?
The fear is very real. People don't go shopping as easily. Women are afraid at the grocery store. You see them afraid to reach for the jalapenos and they're looking around to see who's around, if it's okay for them to reach for a Mexican food item, and if somebody's going to call ICE on them. The fear is very real. All the protests, they have been paying attention, and they have really brought attention to those communities, especially like in Los Angeles. But the other thing, too, is I wanted to bring attention to this news article from CNN, and it stated back in Wednesday, May 22nd of 2024, and it's about South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem is now banned from all tribal lands in her home state, and it's an article by Daniel Strauss at CNN. And this article, I think I recommend it because it talks about the sickening weaponization of the word cartel by Trump's new Secretary of Homeland Security, and some of the things that she quotes that are quoted here is that she argued that tribal leaders were profiting off of drug cartels in the state and prioritizing those cartels over parenting children on their reservations. And she's just doubled down on saying those types of things. And we also know that she, as new Secretary of Homeland Security, is going after people close to tribal reservations down in the South, Southern California, and Navajo country in Arizona. And they are very wary too. And I've heard people tell me firsthand that they are all getting their birth certificates in order now. If anybody's missing a driver's license, everybody's telling everybody to start carrying all those documents with them.
I have heard that ICE is going after some Native Americans, mistaking them for immigrants.
Well, they're saying they're mistaking them, but I think based on this news article, I think it's on purpose.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt that. So I remember reading a few weeks ago about some U.S. congressperson or something telling the Native Americans they should go back where they came from. just bizarre. Just bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, we got another caller coming in. I'm on bring into our studio Linda Salas. Linda, welcome to the show. Uh-oh. Did we lose Linda? Eric, did we lose Linda?
She's on the line. Can you not hear her?
No, we can't hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Welcome to Lanny Sense, Linda. We're glad to have you on the show tonight. Or this afternoon, because it's now on at 2 p.m. Hey, everybody listening, tell your friends that we're not on 8 o'clock. I wonder how many people are going to call in at 8 o'clock tonight, listen at 8 o'clock, not knowing the show has been moved to 2 o'clock. We're going to be on 2 o'clock next week, so keep that there. Linda, I'm glad you can't call in. You know, we're talking about all these horrid things that are happening with immigration, this kind of stuff, and this is all the Trump policy. I know you've been working on some certain protests and things that are being done to counter that. Could you illuminate us about some of these?
Linda's phone call just dropped.
Oh, really? Well, I guess she's not going to be able to illuminate us with these. Well, if she comes back in, Eric, let me know, and we'll get back. We'll get back to that question. So, there is going to be there's going to be a National Day of Protest on February 17th throughout the country, and it's being put on by Courageous Resistance. And finally, it seems like there's going to be some organization made in opposition. You know, last time in 2016, when Trump had that huge women's protest movement and stuff, and we need to have that kind of stuff going on again. So
Lanny,
I hope. Yes, sir.
The 17th is Monday. It's a federal holiday, President's Day, just so you know and the audience knows.
Oh, we got Linda back on.
that would be a very good day to do it, because people aren't going to be working and all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to bring up some information I had here on this National Day of Protest, but I'm having a little bit of problem bringing it up.
We have Linda back on line 2.
Oh, Linda's back on. Linda,
I'm sorry.
welcome back.
I'm on.
Yes, you certainly are. So we were asking you about some of these protests and things you can do to oppose the Trump administration and the MAGA Republicans and this kind of stuff. Care to enlighten us on what you know about?
Well, on the 28th, there is a thing called the People's Union. And there, you can find them. Well, at least he's recording it on Facebook. What he's trying to do is get everybody not to make a purchase on the 28th of February. So if you need to do any shopping, do it the day before, the day after. Nothing online, nothing anywhere, to show the world how much we're a part of this nation. If we don't consume there's going to be serious consequences. So that's the point he wants to make. If it doesn't get around, or people don't do it very much, or it just doesn't make its point, then we're going to do it for a couple days, and we're going to continue this process until they get the hint that we're the boss, not them.
And the best way to hit them is in the pocketbook quite often. Yes.
Exactly. Now that's one thing. Now that same day in Cathedral City, we're trying to gather people in front of Tesla, the car dealer, with anti-Musk signs. And I think your speaker is active in the Democratic Committee, and I think they're organizing something.
That's interesting. I had not heard about that. So there is this Tesla dealer in Cathedral City, and so they're planning an event to protest in front of that. I think that is really that's great. They should have nationwide protests in front of Tesla dealers. I read an article that said that Tesla sales in Europe are plummeting, going down, and they're also going down in this country.
I don't think he's going to cry about that, but
no, you're right.
You know, because he's finding another gold mine, which is our tax dollars.
Treasury.
I think
U.S. Treasury.
Exactly. He's found a new business, and it's the only way we can touch him is by, attacking one of his businesses and making a point of noting that that we wouldn't buy Tesla. A lot of people won't anymore. I do have a friend who bought one, and she can't attend because she needs service. So, and she's an activist. But anyway, those two things. I also, I belong to a Democratic club. We're having our meeting on Friday. We have speakers come to our meetings. I wouldn't mind if you put on your advertisement or something my name, number, and email, and if you have any questions, you could come to me.
Just give it out right now if you like.
I've become the chair of our club of the Political Action Committee, and so I need I need to reach out, and I want to let people know what's happening.
Okay, and how can they reach you?
Okay, my email would be best. It would be ljoy, and my last name, which is Salas, Salas, @gmail.com.
Okay. That's so they can get hold of you for that. That's really good. Here's some information.
If they want to know, or if they want to give me any information. Your last speaker sounded really informed, and I am concerned a lot about the deportations. I'd like us to get together with people who are working on that, so we can, as a body of people, have some ways of reaching out and helping others.
I will reach out to you for sure. Thank you so much for your information.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here's some information on the National Day of Protest. It's the 50-51 movement, which stands for 50 states, 50 protests, 1 day, has announced plans for another nationwide demonstration on Monday, February 17th, coinciding with President's Day. The protest is aimed at opposing the Trump administration, with organizers calling for resistance against fascism. In a post on their subreddit post, the group shared a message, quote, "President not King," end quote, accompanied by an image of the President Donald Trump with a crown on his head. The protests are set to take place at state capitals across the U.S., though other locations are also included. I know other locations because here in the Coachella Valley, they're going to be protesting at the Palm Springs City Hall on February 17th at 12 noon.
Okay.
So anyway,
It's
all
called
the
5150.
50501. 50, that stands for 50 states, 50 protests, 1 day of protest. So if you go now, I don't know. So if you live in the Coachella Valley, I could tell you there's a protest going on at 12 noon in Palm Springs. I imagine there's some others going on, maybe in the city of Riverside or in San Bernardino. I haven't heard about them, but maybe let's see. Next week's show is going to be on the 17th. It's going to be on the it's going to be 1 day afterwards, so we won't be able to tell you what to do with the next week's show because it's the day afterwards. Maybe we'll be able to give you a good report on what, because I certainly intend to go to the protest in Palm Springs. So that would be really something people need to do. People need to do that. So that's interesting. I like the idea about the boycott on Don't Buy Anything. That was February 28th. Is that what you said?
28th, right, the last day of the month.
Last day of the month. Well, I hope we get some word out about it. I think I would hope that most people would be able to not buy something that one day. Plan ahead, buy it on the 27th.
Right, exactly.
So you don't have, but that would be interesting if there's a big drop in sales on that one day. That would be a good sign that there's a kind of a quiet protest going on in any case. So that's that way.
I think the idea is to illustrate how much power we do have. We are essentially the employer of our leaders. So in a way, we have some impact, and you feel it when you're in a union, a union in a manufacturing company or in other unions. If they stop doing the job, the people who run the place think they run the place. Well, they don't when nobody's working it. So we really have more power than we recognize, and that they're willing to acknowledge.
Absolutely right. And, here, remember I mentioned earlier about the Venezuelans and what's happening. Here's an interesting story on it. It says here, Ronald Bolorin decided to flee Venezuela for the United States during President Donald Trump's first administration, convinced the Republican leader would protect people like him who had been targeted by an autocratic regime. Now the university professor is worried the Trump administration is going to deport him. The Department of Homeland Security has canceled the temporary protected status given to thousands of Venezuelans who have arrived in recent years. Bolorin's permission to work in the United States is set to expire in April and is shielded from deportation in September. He says here, today I feel the same way I felt in Venezuela, that they're going to come take me somewhere I won't be able to escape from, maybe like Guantanamo Bay. Bolorin said, tearing up as he describes his family's ordeal. It's terrible to feel this way here in the United States. What's interesting, it goes on here, the decision to cancel temporary protected status, TPS, for hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans has ignited fear, confusion, and outrage in this Miami suburb, which is affectionately known as Doraluenza. Venezuelans here have been some of Trump's biggest proponents. Even if many could not vote, they attended rallies, decorated their front lawns with Trump flags, and took to social media to support the man they thought would prioritize removing Nicolas Maduro, that's the president of Venezuela, from power. But that's not what's happening. Andrea Cavich Will, 29, is among those who thought Trump would shield Venezuelans from deportation. She said the overwhelming majority of her friends and family supported Trump, including her father, who is now at risk of being removed from the country. His TPS expires in April. So just shows you, you can't trust this guy. He doesn't care. Well, we're going to see what happens. well, what's happening with Venezuela is just the beginning. There's a lot of other people who voted for Trump, and he's going to be turning on them, and it'll be interesting to see when they start cutting. And one of the things that's interesting is that they're going to be cutting the Medicaid program. They're going to cut it severely because they want to reduce $1.5 to $2 trillion. And one of the biggest programs is Medicaid. And a lot of these people who voted for Trump are going to find their Medicaid no longer accessible, and they're going to be in big trouble. And that's just part of what the programs that they're going to be cutting. They're going to be cutting programs left and right.
Yes,
okay.
And in 2016, he also deported Hispanic followers. So I was surprised that people still voted for him. I guess they didn't know.
I would like to say something. I don't want to wait 2 years to pack the Congress. There's a special election going on in Florida on District 1 and 2. They're very small districts. I don't know which one is which, but there are 2 Democrats running. And if you can, I'll try to get more information on that. But if you can support them, I'm getting constant texts telling me to donate to the Democratic Party. But my feeling is let's focus on the people we can elect to pack the Congress so we can move things a little better than we're doing right now.
I've been receiving text messages asking for donations to these 2 congressional districts. That these Congress people that were in those districts are now in the Trump administration, and so now they have to hold special elections. Now these are Republican districts, but the Democrats feel if they could really, with what the Republicans are doing, they feel maybe they can sour a lot of people there that will vote for the Democratic person there. So they're seeking money so they can run an effective campaign. So I sent a few bucks in.
Yeah, me too. So I want to spread that around.
Yeah.
I gotta, you know where I'm at on this. I gotta beg out. I mean, like, I've given so much time and money to progressive campaigns and the Democratic Party, and the fact that they couldn't enforce the law over the last 4 years against Trump makes the Democrats complicit in Trump's presidency. And I'm done.
I share your pain. Party. I feel like we were let down by intelligence.
We were let down by Joe Biden.
We were let down by Biden and Garland. Merrick Garland should have prosecuted him for the crimes of the insurrection, and he didn't. He just sat on his hands. And if he had prosecuted him, Trump would be in jail right now.
Yeah,
but he's not because he got away with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Supreme Court should be impeached. Of course, you can't do that because Republicans are in control of Congress. But the judiciary did not work. And it's not working now. I mean, you can see the court orders that have been given to Trump about what he's doing. He's not going to abide by those. Why the hell should Trump abide by the law? He's the president. And the Supreme Court has said he can do anything he wants.
And they're now talking, the Trump administration is now talking, they have the right to ignore court orders because he says the court cannot impose on them what they have to do because they're an equal branch of government. And the court can't tell them what to do, which is a bizarre interpretation, but that's what they're going to do. And the thing is, if Trump ignores the courts, what's anybody going to do about it? The courts are going to send the police in this?
He was a private citizen for 4 years. And the judiciary and the Democrats should have gone after him as a private citizen. Now he's president. Oh, they don't want to prosecute the president because the president's above the law. This isn't a democracy. This is not a constitutional democracy anymore. And like I've said before, if you can't enforce the law, why do you have the law in the books?
Yeah. That's true. That's very, very true.
And prior to this situation, I've always been pointing the responsibility to the Republicans. And of course, the Republicans are actively doing it. But what happened with the Democrats is they went passive aggressive. and let it slide by for 4 years. I will never, as long as I live, I'm 73, that may not be very long, I don't know. But I will never forgive the Democratic Party for letting Trump slide the last 4 years. And I'm making this very clear directly, personally, to every elected Democrat that I know on a personal level.
What do you think of the new chair of the Democratic Party now? What do you know about him?
You mean the state?
Ken Martin?
No, the new national chair was
Ken Martin.
Yeah, sure.
What do you know about him, and do you think he might be?
I heard he's a really good activist in the state. He's from Move On, the political organization that helped us keep Trump down to only one term and helped us elect the Democratic president in 2020. So hopefully he seems motivated.
Have any more? Yeah.
Here's some information. The news chair, his name is Ken Martin, and Ken Martin is a longtime Democratic Party insider who leads the party in Minnesota, and he was elected on Saturday to take over as chair of the Democratic National Committee after the party suffered, of course, the devastating defeats in the November election. Although I take umbrage with these devastating defeats. Trump won by 1.05%. Not exactly a landslide, but anyway, whatever. Martin won the
devastating is an emotional term in this situation, Lanny. It means it's not the statistics, but it's the result, the feeling.
Yeah. After winning, Martin immediately urged unity against Trump, telling Democrats, after winning, we have one team, we have one fight. Martin will take the helm of the DNC about 3 months after Trump decisively won the presidential election, defeating Vice President Kamala Harris. The GOP also won control. We all know that kind of stuff. What's he going to do? Speaking with reporters after his victory, Martin promised to take a more aggressive posture toward Trump, declaring that it is a new Democratic Party and we're taking the gloves off. Well, I certainly hope so. But he also said the Democrats would look inward and that one of his first priorities as a new DNC chair is a post-election review. He said it will be done as quickly as possible and released publicly, lamenting that the party did not make public a similar analysis after Trump's first election in 2016. Martin has been chair of the Minnesota Democratic Farmers Labor Party, known as the DFL, since 2011. He also serves as DNC vice chair and president of the Association of State Democratic Committees. Martin was long viewed as a leading candidate in the race based on his number of endorsements from DNC members. Also, let's see, the DNC was said. So anyway, so that's what, a little bit about Martin, and we'll have to wait and see. The Democrats have been just pussyfooting around. They haven't done much of anything.
Well,
I hope that they will start. Yes.
What changes? I never remember the names of your speaker, but you have a speaker, a male speaker now. What would the changes be that you would want?
You mean Hakeem Jeffries, the Speaker of the House, the former Democratic Speaker of the House?
No, I mean, how do you want the Democratic Party to run that you think would make things happen?
Well, one of the things I think needs to be doing, we should be having mass protests, and the Democratic Party has not been organizing any.
Well, I'll tell you my problem with the Democratic Party is that they're not talking to Democrats. They're talking to each other. They're talking to the elected people above, but nobody's coming down to all the Democrats, especially here in Coachella Valley, who did not vote. Why are they not asking us?
Yeah, that's true.
Why are they not? Is there any chain of association or something that we can reach out to them and let them know what we are frustrated with?
Well,
they're not asking us.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Well, one of the things that the Republicans did when the Biden was president is they kept attacking him on all these different things like inflation and so and immigration. The Democrats are not, Trump is doing all these horrendous things, and we're not attacking him. Why aren't we putting on? Now I realize, when they were attacking Biden on inflation, he had very little to, really could do much about that. But we should be attacking Biden on the price of eggs. Eggs have gone through the roof, if you can even buy them anymore. And why aren't we blame? People can feel that when they go to the grocery store and they say, "Oh my God, a dozen eggs is $5 now." Why aren't we saying, "Look, Trump promised he's going to lower prices, he's going to reduce inflation," and just the opposite is happening. We should be talking about these tariffs he's putting on there, which is going to increase inflation. So the people know that the problems that Trump said he was going to solve, he isn't solving. In fact, he is making it worse. And we've got to get this message out to the people. Now, I'm not exactly sure how to do it, but I guess social media is one of the ways. But we've got to we have to have an effective campaign against Trump as Trump had against Biden.
Okay. That's one good reason. But how do you let them know, Lanny? How do you let your people, the people who make these decisions, know? How do you reach, this new guy to let him know what you think they should do?
Oh, you mean like Ken Martin, the new head of the DNC?
What's the chain of command?
Sending letters, right? Well, one of the things.
What you do is,
yes, go ahead.
You have a delegation from the state of California that from the California Democratic Party that is, and it's the largest because of the population factor, and there are a number of members of the National Democratic Party that are from California, and you should contact them directly if you want to have an impact on the National Democratic Party. That's the best way because they're insiders, and if you contact them by phone, by email, and their contacts are readily available. You can go on the website of the California Democratic Party. What is it, Lanny? CADEM? CADEM?
CADEM, CADEM.org, yes.
Yeah, .org. And their contacts will be there, and you can contact them directly. And my recommendation would be to contact all of them. My recommendation would be to either write up a script that you're going to read over the phone if you talk to them, but the script should be the same thing that you're going to put in an email and send to each one of them. That's the best way to communicate, and that's the best way to get inside the National Democratic Party.
And do you think it would make a dent? Because you seem to feel like they don't care. Yes, it will,
because they are elected representatives from the state of California to the National Party. And they know that if they don't do what they're supposed to do, they won't get reelected. It's not. Yes, you can make a dent. Whether they can make a dent or not, you don't know until you voice your opinion to them and see what they do with it, what they're capable of doing with it.
Can I also chime in on something right there while you're? There's also an organization right now called Indivisible.org, and there, as a RCDP member myself, I still subscribe to Indivisible. And right now, it's a group of congressional staffers that are really helping us, providing us with toolkits and things on fighting back. They give us scripts on, who to call. In fact, I think they're the ones that are helping us organize those protests on February 17th. So you might want to also sign up with Indivisible.org. They will tell you on a weekly basis who they're targeting, people of Congress. They give you phone numbers, scripts, and what it is, what messaging that they want out. It's been very effective.
But most of the messaging I'm noticing is Democrats blaming Republicans. What I want is more the Democrats who were disenchanted with Democrats to contact Democrats and move them in the direction that would get more voters.
Well, definitely, it does start at the bottom with the club. With the clubs, you always voice your concerns, and as a member of the club, you are the Democratic Party. You got to voice your concerns to that club president. It's that club president's duty to raise those concerns to the county party. It's the county party's obligation to raise those concerns to the state party. So there are things down at the ground level that you can use.
What do you think of the superdelegate idea? I don't like it. I would like to remove it. That's something I would comment on.
That superdelegate thing is a real controversial thing, but unfortunately, we're running out of time for tonight's show. One thing I would like to
trash it. I thought that, did they have no, they didn't have a convention this last time. Last time superdelegates had an impact was Clinton, Hillary. I don't think they've used superdelegates since then, have they? Or superdelegates are the last to vote. They're the last to vote, and they vote in a tying situation. So they've really been relegated to neutrality. Whereas during the Clinton campaign, they were the first, and they screwed everything up for Bernie Sanders. But that's right. I think the superdelegates should be trashed. I don't think they should have voting rights within the.
I would like to reemphasize what Sylvia was saying, and that is that you need to get involved. Now, whether it's getting involved through the Democratic Party or through Courageous Resistance or Indivisible or some other organization, there's all kinds of organizations that you can get involved with. And that is how you make your voice heard. You can't just standing up there and talking on your own isn't going to do anything. You got to get involved. You got to work. You got to work with other people. So,
but Lanny, the best way is to get involved. To start at the bottom, your county Democratic Party, and go up from there to the state and then the federal.
And your county Democratic Party is welcoming you. They have meetings all the time. If you're here in California, just go to the caldem.org website. You can actually see and have the names of the chairperson of every county Democratic Party with their contact information. You can just send them an email, or the phone numbers there quite often too, and say, hey, I want to get involved.
They're always open to registered Democrats as guests.
That's right. And that's the best way to get involved, the very best way to get involved. Well, listen, we are running out of time, and I want to thank Linda and Sylvia for calling in. Of course, I always want to thank Sam for being on the show with me. Would like to mention that if you would like to be a sponsor of our show and reach our listening audience, please give me a call. I will sit there and talk with you about the rates and how you can do it. And I was told that if you sponsor on this show, you also get your commercials aired throughout the day on KCA radio. So you can get a lot of bang for your buck by advertising on our show on Lanny Sense. So give me a call. My phone number is 760-799-2055, 760-799-2055, or you can reach me very easily by going to my email, which is rnlanny, Lanny, RN as a registered nurse, rnlanny at AOL.com. That's right, AOL.com. They're still in existence, and I have my email on them. So anyway, that's hey, I hear the music playing. That's Eric's way of telling me, hey, the show is wrapping up and coming to an end. Thank you for joining us tonight on Lanny Sense. Don't forget, we'll be on next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Good night from the show that leaves no gender behind.